Previously on Inside MotoAmerica, pressure to rise.
Everyone chips in, does their job, and it kind of keeps the circus going.
He said he saw someone leaking oil in front of him.
And going into one, somebody flew up and there's oil. Like, I got oil all over me, so I think they might need to check the track.
Copy that.
People had gone over it, and I just tipped in over it, and the bike just started losing grip, kind of like that floating feeling.
And it wasn't a little blow up, it was huge.
I nearly hit the wall.
Yeah.
Was pointing the wall like 90 degrees when I went out, and I just had to lean the bike, and I nearly hit the wall. That's scary.
Jiggy Dog's back.
Hopefully come the race, I can get it close to the front at least.
A little different?
Yeah.
It's dangerous. I think it's a really dangerous track.
Gagne down! Loris Baz is down as well.
I think Baz made a mistake. The two fastest guys crashed. Maybe they're pushing the hardest.
It's a dangerous game. Anything can happen.
We got bike 3-2 down.
Absolutely crazy.
We've seen crazy stuff happen all our careers, so we gotta savor the day, savor the moment.
Who's going to be the next guy? Who's going to knock Jake off of his streak, if you want to, call it that?
It's coming.
I kind of feel that I have the race pace to be a part of the podium battle.
I'm just happy to be back up here. There's been a lot of mopey faces around the M4S car Suzuki team.
I don't think I'll be very satisfied if I leave the season without at least one race under my belt.
I'm kind of stoked.
Yeah. You should be. Oh, hey, how's it going? Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Beer?
Look at the man of the moment who has been pretty much unbeatable in MotoAmerica this season, Jake Gagne.
Anything can happen. This is motorcycle racing.
Just a bad luck year.
Start, go ahead and send them.
I'm hungry, just hungry.
3, 2, 1. Track is open. Green flag, green light is put out. All stations go red. We got bike 3-2 down in turn 3. We have another bike down in turn 5.
I went in there in turn 3. The rear end just started coming around. I was waiting for this thing to high side me, and I just kind of dropped it down, laid it down, and I slid kind of underneath the bike, and I was kind of behind it, like the bike was in front of me, protecting me from all the guys coming at me, and then standing there, and I didn't know what to do, didn't know if I want to move, and then I found an open spot, so I kind of could gun it.
Really weird opening.
It was a crazy one, probably the craziest win all year, but I'm stoked that we got it done.
We have another bike down in turn 5.
So Baz takes the lead, and all of a sudden, what happened there?
This crash happened only because we started with cold tires. We just spent so much time on the grid, and even I remember Matthew and Jake saying, but what about the tire? What about the tires? And then Jake crashed in the beginning of lap 2, and I thought at this moment that my tires were better, and I crashed the next corner. I killed the bike. Just a shame for this stupid mistake. Then after that, Jake was lucky, he managed to restart, and he won the race, and I could not restart, so that's just unlucky, and it's a shame because we lost, again, a lot of points.
He had a different tire choice than everybody else. The track was a little colder that day too, so if he was pushing on a colder track, even with that tire being warm, I think it was a little bit sketchy.
We look at them trying to tend to Jake Gagne's bike on that fresh lead.
I'm still really angry with that.
Jake Gagne captured his craziest win of the season after completing Sunday's race at Brainerd. he had another double win weekend.
Saturdays are always great, but even on the cool-down lap on Saturday, I'm already thinking, what do we got to do to get better tomorrow? And then Sunday rolls around, we got another win, and then that's the nicest part of the weekend, is just rolling around and know a job well done and looking forward to the rest of the year.
Bobby Fong got back into the mix with a second-place finish in race 1 and was running in second for race 2 until he made a mistake.
So Bobby Fong ran off in turn number 12. That's going to hand second place to Loris Baz.
I get a lot of front end movement, and you're a wide open throttle or 3/4 throttle most of the time, and I'm just losing the front. And that's not a place you really want to lose the front. It's kind of zapped my confidence in there.
Matthew Scholz solidifies his second place in the point standings with a podium finish in both races. He's still 79 points behind Jake going into Pitt Race.
Hey, another step forward for us, so hopefully we just carry on working this way and hopefully get up to Jake.
Cameron Peterson, 4 podiums this year. Bobby Fong, he'll take over the spot.
Cameron Peterson missed the podium for the second round in a row, but with Heron's absence, moved into third overall.
Brainerd honestly was a little bit of a struggle for us. I think to walk away with the 4th and the 5th I think I got was not bad.
Loris Baz had a race-long battle with Scholz for second on Sunday after crashing out of race 1. Since testing positive for COVID-19, Josh Heron is still recovering after missing Brainerd and will sit out this weekend once again. In his place at Pitt Race is Tony Elias, making his second appearance in MotoAmerica this season. He also filled in for Kyle Wyman at Laguna Seca.
Richard called me and it was a nice surprise, and he's just Heron's bike, so he will come back, he will race, and I hope he do really good, no? Because we are friends.
After withdrawing from Brainerd to allow more time for his surgically repaired elbow to heal, Kyle Wyman is back on his Panera-bred Ducati this round.
Was doing what I could to try and make the elbow better, but I don't think I really knew how hard it was going to be.
Coming up, Off Track with Loris Baz. When Loris Baz decided to race in MotoAmerica this season, he was leaving behind a support system of family and friends in Europe. Now that he has spent some time in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the Warhorse HSBK team has become his family in America.
Hi guys, welcome to Warhorse. Come with me, I'll show you the place. And where the babies are being rebuilt. Who's the big boss?
No, it's a little boss. He's a bigger boss.
That's it, after race 1, Minnesota. That's what's left.
And we've got crashes in turn number 3. Loris Baz is down as well. This has gotten absolutely crazy.
It was not a big crash, but with big consequence, and sometimes it's like this, you crash slow and the bike is completely dead, and sometimes you crash really fast and the bike has nothing. I think it's the first time this year I'm not able to restart after a crash, and
red flag, red flag, red flag.
It's a shame because we could have definitely could have scored points after the red flag, but yeah, the bike was really bad, like the swing arm was broken, the frame was broken.
It's just not fixable here.
So the guys have a lot of job this week rebuilding, basically one bike, but it's 2 bikes because they have to switch the engine, so they have a lot of job, I guess.
We need 1 day of work for 2 people, for have one complete bike. Sarà colpa del piede, no?
The guys walk on the bike, I walk on myself, and then you go on the next round with the same mentality. This season has been tough, but we show that we can walk together. We go through the bad luck we had. I don't like to talk about bad luck, but sometimes you have bad luck, but the only thing, you have 2 options when you have bad luck. You just sit and wait, or you just go back to work, and that's my mentality. It's the only thing I believe. It's hard work pays off. I'm only 28, but I have a lot of years of racing behind me, and in a career you go through a lot of bad moments to have some nice moments.
Baz goes down! Oh, Gagne off the track. Let's see, is Baz going to take advantage of that? He is.
I think we're closer than ever since Laguna to be able to beat Jake, you know, so that's the target. He just put the level really high this year. We are beating nearly the race record and lap record every race, so not only Jake, but sometimes even the top 3, 4, so it means it's going fast. We knew it was really challenging year, coming year, with everything brand new, you know, brand new team, brand new guys, new bike, new tires for new tracks for me. I have the feeling that since Laguna, we start to have less problem during the race week, so it makes our life easier. And yeah, I mean, the target is to win a race as soon as possible, and we've been pretty close in Laguna, with unfortunately not close enough in the last race with what happened in race 1. So yeah, Pittsburgh, we try again.
We are very close to win. We hope to win in a very, very short time. It's our mission for everybody.
Friday morning in practice 1, Loris had a problem that shut off his bike. But he was able to coast nearly all the way to the pit entrance.
5th gear corner, sliding, flat out, and the bike just shut off. So I nearly eye-sided because I was sliding in that moment. In the last part, I was really fast. I just grabbed the clutch and tried to make it back to the pit, but I had no speed enough, so I had to run in the exit of the last turn until I was in the pit and was actually downhill. So yeah, it was nice morning run, you know.
Tony Elias hopped on his biggest rival's Yamaha for the first time Friday morning and rode off track early in the session.
First lap I was pushing already. I felt grip, I felt good riding position, I felt the electronics were working properly in a very safe way. The power delivery was so easy.
Jake Gagne had some serious chatter coming down the front straight, but was able to keep it under control. Later on Friday in qualifying 1, the Attack Performance Yamaha crew was working on some adjustments to the front suspension as Tony looks to get comfortable in a short time.
I'm missing stability on the brakes and little bit of transfer to the weight to the rear in the center of the corner to have more grip at the exit, no? These two things are penalizing me a little bit to do better.
Bobby Fong starts out strong, jumping up to 2nd early in the session.
He's found the most, I think, this morning. He's looking racy this week.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely been the biggest improver from this morning, and also looks like they're starting to kind of figure things out on his side of the tent there at M4.
I'm a little handsy with the throttle, so I just started giving more throttle, holding on deeper, and you have to be really smooth around here.
Matthew Skoltz overtakes Fong shortly after.
Matty Skoltz second quickest, but he's a full second behind Jake Gagne.
Bobby Fong in the 3rd, that's good to see.
Yeah, he's less than a 10th behind Matthew Skoltz.
A few minutes later, Skoltz was black flagged to come into pit lane.
I was worried there was something wrong, but ended up pulling in and they said that the transponder wasn't working for 1 sector. So it was a little bit of a waste of time in qualifying, but those things happen.
After day 1 is completed, it's no surprise that Gagne has provisional pole. Matthew Skoltz is in 2nd, and spots 3 through 8 are all within an 1/8 of a second of each other.
Jake's made 1 or 2 the mistakes early on, so I think if we just keep on pressuring him, something could happen.
Coming up, race 1 from Pittsburgh International Race Complex.
You should do this game.
How many spins can you get before puking?
Before passing out, you know? Can you tape Jake on the chair just before race 1, please?
All season, Saturday mornings in qualifying 2 have been as exciting as any race. Gagne usually throws down the fastest lap early, and everyone else scrambles to catch up.
Jake Gagne, 1 minute 40.877, faster than he did yesterday by 0.3 of a second, and within 0.2 of a second of the race lap record.
We've been able to focus on doing some nice long runs, doing some 10-lap runs or more, and that really helps. That really helps going into the race. You never really know what's going to happen after halfway. These Dunlops always hang in there good, but the bike, the characteristics change. How you ride it's going to change a little bit. So I know what we want to do. I know what we can do. So it's just kind of my job to execute it.
Westby Racing has some problems right at the start, and Scholes has to come into pit lane.
It's not how you want to start your Saturday morning.
No, not at all, especially, you know, I'm sure the guys made a lot of changes overnight, sitting down with your crew, so you want to make sure and try those out this morning. This is your last time on the track before the race, so you really need to know if the changes that you made overnight were correct.
Hector Barbera is still fighting to climb up the grid, and early on has the fastest time in Sector 3. But he's sitting 5th. Then the shuffle ensues. Tony Elias jumps up to 3rd. And shortly after, Bobby Fong bests Tony's time. Not to be outdone, Scholes then jumps up to 3rd. With under 4 minutes left in the session, Jake Gagne does his thing and is the only rider to go under 1 minute and 40 seconds.
This is going to be as close to a 39 as I think we are going to get, ladies and gents. Here comes Gagne, the leader of the champion, at 39.921, a second quicker than he's done himself, and he now has a 1.4 second advantage over Loris Baz.
Then Tony Elias jumps up to 2nd. Baz tops Tony. Cam Peterson tops Elias, and on the next lap, Tony tops Cam. On Matthew Scholes' final lap, he was putting together a possible time to knock Gagne off pole.
This is impressive from Matthew Scholes. We may have a race. Oh, a little bit unsettled there. How did he make that? He manages to get through. There'll be no penalty for Scholes on this one. This is going to put Scholes back into P2 with a deficit of what, maybe 1/4 of a second, 0.3. Maybe we do have a race.
Everything can change. That's why it's racing.
We first tried the harder compound tire because we were just kind of worried about the drop-off that would happen. But we could just kind of see that the pace on it wasn't even near what the softer compound was. For me personally, it might be different for everyone else. So came in and put the qualifying tire on and had 1 lap to do it, and somehow managed to put together a pretty decent lap, qualify 2nd.
Sector 2 is what sets Jake above the field. He's a ½ second faster than anyone through it, and earns another pole position, followed by Scholes, Baz, Elias, Peterson, and Fong.
Green light to pit out. All stations are waving green. This is our signing lap period for Superbike Race 1. Bikes are coming out.
Row markers up, please. Row markers up.
HONOS Superbike race number 1 from Pitt Race. Revs are up, lights off. Tony Elias looked like he had a good launch on the freshly attack performance Yamaha. He's left part of your screen, number 24. And it's got to be Gagne who leads the way, but Elias coming up in the 2nd spot ahead of Matthew Scholes. So a good job by Tony Elias.
Tony Elias got a good start off the line for his debut race with Attack Performance Yamaha, slotting himself into 2nd early on.
Right now, looking, you can see Baz makes a quick stab up underneath Scholes as they go down through turn 4. It's going to get close as they come down the hill. Scholes is trying to get that space back, and Baz moves him out of the way. He's going to lose a spot to Cam Peterson, who goes up underneath as well, so some aggression from the French rider early.
Matty, I think it was going into turn 1, he tried to make a move, kind of messed his drive up, and then I think think it was going into 3 into 4, Lars he made a little bit of a move on Matty going into turn 4, and Matty just leant on him, like, this is my spot, you're gonna have to work harder. And then all the way going down into 5, I could just see these guys bump, and there was smoke coming off the tires, and they were just bumping each other. And yeah, Baz just lunged, lunged like he does. Yeah, luckily it allowed me to sneak through and get up into 3rd, which I was pretty stoked about.
I know we didn't have the pace to match Jake after qualifying. I start and I go for it. I try everything and I give everything I have. Always been pretty strong overtaking, and that's why a lot of guys here complain.
I was in 3rd, going over Wheelie Hill, going into corner 3 a little bit hot, and Bash had to pass me into corner 4. Ended up touching a little bit there. Then just in corner 5, both of us touched, ran out wide, and kind of was just trying to salvage the race from there. Everyone knows that Jake is the man now. In the first 5 or 6 laps, he does have something extra.
Jake's done such a good job this year of the first 2 or 3 flying laps, creating a gap immediately. So on the first lap or 2, pretty much everybody's just frantic. We've got to go forward right now, and that's a lot of what it is as soon as that gap opens, it seems like nobody can close it again.
Bobby Fong pulled in at the start of the race with an issue with his brake adjuster. He managed to rejoin the back of the field in 27th.
So Bobby Fong has been about a second, 1.2 faster than this group in front of him.
You never know. He's still on the lead lap, and if we were to have a red flag or something like that, that's why you can't ever give up. You got to just keep grinding it out, and that's what this guy does better than any of them.
The pace car was behind the whole crew, so I come over the hill, and I'm like, holy hell, there's a pace car right there. It was really weird. I don't know. It felt like it was a practice. I started finding my rhythm, and you just got to hit your marks and just take it corner by corner and just try to be smart to move forward. Could have been dangerous if we didn't fix it. Really dangerous, actually. So
this has got to put a smile on Richard Stamboli's face as a crew chief and a team owner to see his riders going 1-2, a 40.7 fastest lap of the race. So that lap, Gagne gets 0.3 of a second over Elias. But we've seen Gagne faster than the field, sometimes, Jake, 1 second. And Matthew Skoltz talked about it. This is what Gagne's been doing, putting in these heaters in the first 5 laps of the race and really pulling out a gap.
Jake's in a little deep. Jake's in a little bit deep there too. I mean, we've seen actually 2 little mistakes from Gagne that we don't normally see.
On lap 3, Baz was riding on the limit to try to catch up to the lead group, but ultimately crashed in turn 3 and was unable to rejoin the race.
Baz is down. That's going to be probably up in the turn 3 area. He was pushing hard to try to get up to the front of those other 2 guys, and he's tipped off, Greg. It looks like in turn 3.
Tony was fast too. He was catching Jake in the lap 2. I tried to catch them, and then I did just too much going into turn 3 in lap 3. But it's a shame because, of course, then you have to start back of the grid in really far away in race 2. Fresh and lean Yamaha pace. At the moment, they're quicker everywhere we go. They've been quicker than us, so we just have to step up our game, and that's the only way to do it, is to find a limit everywhere.
Cam Peterson tries to close the gap to Tony Elias in 2nd, but was caught by fellow South African Matthew Skoltz and spent the rest of the race in the 4th position.
Matthew Skoltz makes a great pass there, and that's what you can do in these S's. If you have that little bit extra grip, you can get on the gas. That bike's going to just squatch a little bit more, put that pressure on that tire, and give you that a little bit extra grip.
It's been a while since we got on that podium, so it's getting a little bit frustrating, and we just got to find a little bit extra to keep up with those Yamahas. I was lucky enough to ride around and do a lot of laps with the guys, and I could just see what their bikes were doing compared to our bikes, and we're working at it.
What we're witnessing here is something completely amazing. We're looking at a rider who has won with his motorcycle and his crew.
Gagne captures his 12th victory in a row, while Tony Elias, in 2nd, gets his first ever podium on a Yamaha in MotoAmerica. Matthew Skoltz holds on to a solid 3rd place finish.
A couple laps, my gap grew a little bit more than I thought, and so I kind of knew there might have been some drama behind me or something, but came out of turn 1 after the checkered flag, and I was looking back. I was like, who's coming in 2nd? And Tony comes around the corner. I was like, oh yeah, man, that's great. I was pumped for him. I'm pumped for the team. Anytime we can go 1-2 on a day, that's just amazing. He's still Tony Elias. He's still a really talented guy. It's been fun having him in the truck too. We all miss Josh, and I know it's a bummer that Josh is probably bummed sitting at home, and I know he's had a rough couple weeks here, but he'll be back swinging at the last couple too.
Hi.
Hola.
Great job today.
How's it feel?
Good. It's been really nice to ride this bike, but right now still I don't feel 100% comfortable. I had a really good 5 years with Suzuki, but looks like last year was terrible. And when you are in a difficult situation, people start to have doubts on you. Now, arrive, make podium, it's like, oh, feels really good. Straight away, make something more like this, it's amazing.
For sure there's a rivalry brewing. I don't think that it's personal, but yeah, there's a rivalry. I mean, it's a factory Ducati squad. Those guys are bitching. Their bike's bitching. It's got all wicked awesome titanium parts on it, and they got all the guys speaking a foreign language over there. Just that makes me envious. So yeah, there's a rivalry. There's not a rivalry like the Sharks and the Jets. We're not gonna go out in the thoroughfare and windmill each other.
I would say there's definitely probably a rivalry coming through. For sure, anytime they're that aggressive on the track, it tends to perpetuate into the next event. So yeah, I would say it's on its way.
When we return, Loris will have to fight hard for a podium, starting from 10th on the grid.
When I was young, honestly, I hated training. I never wanted to go training. I just wanted to ride a bike, and I didn't like testing a bike. I just wanted to race a bike. And then I've learned to enjoy riding the bike alone on Friday, do my work to improve the bike. I really started to train because I had to, and then I enjoyed it, and now I'm like addicted to it. So, I mean, you improve as you grow up, I guess. I train a lot, like I love to go cycling, running outside. You know, just to find a routine coming back in the US was challenging at the beginning. In Europe, I'm used to go to the race, come back home on Monday, go training, and I'm home. So even if I'm still like a gypsy when I'm home, it's not that much, you know. So just trying to find the routine, the food, and all this thing make my life much easier to stay. I left Europe and I was okay. I didn't know when I was coming back the next time. So a lot of European people with the COVID, you have so much travel restriction. You know, I just can't remember how many bags I have or where they are. And I actually lost a couple of pair of shoes like a couple of months ago, and I found them last week when I went back at the shop. It's challenging, but it's nice to have such nice people here around me. In the team and all the sponsors from the team too. Salute. I think I came as a rider, but I met a family here with all the team and all the mechanics.
Morning. How are you? Doing well.
To not expect anything makes the life easier, you know, and I kind of like this life, you know, but sometimes it's just the only thing you try to not lose is your passport, you know, but the rest I've lost like pretty much everything this year and found back a month later. We are here at Ducati New York, seeing my friends, having a chat with them before heading to the airport to pick up my girlfriend. My girlfriend since 7 years, she's really present in my life. Spending a bit of time here in the city, it's going to be cool to bring her to the race, to introduce her to the racing team, trying to do the best job in Pittsburgh before flying back with her at home.
After Loris crashed out of race 1, he has the support of his girlfriend this weekend, which definitely seems to help his mindset.
Usually in Europe, she comes to most of the races, and that's the first one she comes this year, so it's nice. We spent 2 days in New York. It just makes the life easier around the racing. When I have the helmets on, honestly, it doesn't change anything, apart from my harm on my body, because that's her job. She knows my body really well, and every time I have pain somewhere, she can walk on the things pretty well, and it's pretty nice. But apart from that, doesn't change a lot when I have the helmets on. But it's just nice to have someone around in the paddock when you're off the bike, and yeah, you know, just talking about something else than racing sometimes make the racing easier.
When we return, Loris will have to fight hard for a podium, starting from 10th on the grid in HONOS Superbike Race 2. Great weather has been consistent throughout the season, and Pitt Race was no exception. Fan turnout was terrific all weekend.
It's busier than it's ever been, you know, so it's awesome to see people coming out and watching racing, and I think we've put on a decent show for them, and hopefully the second race we can give them an even better show.
Fans showed up, they did a great job, bunch of great people up in this part of the country. It's cool to come up and race here. Thanks to all the fans for coming out, supporting us. All the races have been awesome this year. We've had great turnouts.
There were a lot of people, and there were also a lot of people on the hill. There's a lot of RVs here, so it's really good.
It's just so cool to see people having so much interest in the series again. I really like I feel like the people like me also, even if I'm not from here, so that's cool.
Bikes are on course, bikes are on course. This is our warm-up for bike race 2. Start, you got them all back. Mr. Starter, it's all yours, sir.
Clutches are out. Gagne with a good launch, so did Tony Elias, and Cam Peterson on the 45. Tony Elias going up the inside. He'll take over second spot. Cam P in third, just ahead of his countryman, Matthew Skoltz.
And you heard him say he made that bike easier to ride this morning, so let's see if that makes it easier for Cam Peterson to stick with these guys early. Matthew Skoltz makes an early bid and gets by Peterson as they go into turn 3. Good to see Bobby Fong up there after some bad luck in that opening lap yesterday as well.
At the beginning of the race, I'm like, whoa, we're going fast. Like, I could actually open the throttle. So I felt like I was actually losing a lot in the beginning of the race, but then as soon as the tire went off, I'm like, oh, okay, I know the feel now.
Jake takes the lead right off the start, and Tony Elias finds himself in second once again.
After a change to the motorcycle this morning for the freshly attack performance Yamaha of Tony Elias, he went a second faster than he's gone all weekend, and he's hoping he can stick with Jake Gagne and break away from the rest of the field, at least for the first couple of laps. So is the rest of this field.
Baz right there, he went underneath Hector Barbaro and ran him a little bit wide. Baz wants to get to the front. Whatever setups they continue to work on to refine that motorcycle this morning, that's what he's gonna have to run with.
Baz had to battle his way through the field, starting from 10th on the grid, as a consequence of not finishing race 1.
I expected to be able to catch Tony and Matthew, but way too much problem with my arm in that race, and that's only my fault. So yeah, I didn't feel so comfortable on the bike, but I think with a bit more power in that arm, I could have been faster. So I just had to manage the best way possible to go to the end. It was a tough race, screaming in the helmet to go to the end. So it's not nice.
All of these guys are frustrated by the fact that there's one guy winning. Gagne gets out front, he darts away, everybody's trying to get to the front and go there as well. And there's going to be contact. Some of these tracks we go to, Greg, we know they're tight, they're hard to pass on, there's only enough room for one bike. And every now and then, if those guys get side by side, you're going to see a little bit contact.
All right, Jay, as Gagne continues to lead the way here, 1.9 now as Tony Elias and Matthew Skoltz going at it. Skoltz just trying to keep that motorcycle at bay, going over one of the many of the crest of the hills here at Pitt Race. Now a 140.586, the fastest lap of the race by Gagne in lap 2. The lap record here was Cameron Beaubier last year at a 140.550. So just 36 thousandths of a second off of that track record is Jake Gagne. But now without somebody pushing him, I think that lap record might be safe.
And I think Matthew has pace here. I really do. I think that if he can get by Tony Elias here, then he might be able to at least kind of keep that gap a little bit closer.
On lap 5, Matthew Skoltz made the pass on Tony Elias for second.
That's the pass that he needed to make.
I was kind of thinking that he would be quicker and kind of try to hang on to Jake, and I was thinking I'll just follow him, but I saw that Jake was kind of gapping him, and I felt a little bit more confident that I had something over Tony to manage to pass him and kind of put some heaters down. But yeah, I did 3 laps that I kind of caught up to Jake slightly, but then the edge of the tire started losing grip big time, and Jake obviously could see his board coming down and just stepped it up.
I'm obviously watching my pit board every lap, but when I have a lap where it's getting a little small, it's time to go. It's time to go. If I have a bit of a gap, you can knock it off just a couple percent, so you can avoid any little mistakes here and there, running wide or whatever.
Sunday Fong, this guy, Bobby Fong, M4X Star Suzuki, just shows up on Sunday and just starts to put the hammer down.
And was it a brake lever adjuster yesterday that you saw?
That's correct.
Kind of
Aftermarket part.
Okay, so on the warm-up lap, he saw that he pulled in, he kind of missed start, so he started last, but we know how gutsy of a rider Bobby Fong is.
I did the warm-up lap, and I get to the grid, and my crew's standing on third row, and every Sunday I forget, they change the grid for Sunday. So I'm going into the race, I'm yeah, back on second row, I'll be a little closer. I won't have to do too many passes if I want to stay up front, and then I get to it's third row, so I'm just got to work that much harder.
With 6 laps to go, Bobby Fong closed the gap to Elias for third.
Bobby Fong, who's making an aggressive move into the chicane. Wow. And Bobby with his hand in the air just to let Tony know, hey, but Tony answers right back, as Tony does. Oh, Fong had a bit of a moment there. Tony might have tried to park him. So a little pass and pass back action by Bobby Fong, M4X Star Suzuki. Things are starting to get a little chippy for that final spot on the podium.
Well, both these guys are fighting, and both these guys want this result. Tony would love to leave here with a couple of podiums, and after what Bobby went through yesterday, he's just looking for a podium, and you can see their lines are significantly different. Wow, Bobby just rode around the outside of him going up over the top of that rise. Tony looked like he was going to have position, but Bobby Fong makes that pass, Greg.
Oh, he's so
I don't know
deep.
if I've seen anybody do that before.
That was unreal by Bobby Fong.
We got past him, and I just was sitting on Matty for a while, and I was just kind of sizing him up. He was stronger in some places, and I would get him in some places, and the last 2 laps I was like, all right, here we go.
So Bobby Fong, it's go time now if he can close the gap on Matthew Skoltz.
I just started getting too handsy with the throttle and kind of let Matt get a little gap at the end.
How do you like lucky number 13 for Jake Gagne?
Jake captured his 13th win in a row, and Matthew Skoltz finishes second. Bobby Fong was able to hold on to third and stand on the podium for the 3rd time this season.
Bobby Fong on the Suzuki, getting the congratulations from the team as well.
Matthew's bike was awesome in race 2. Herschel and Ed came up with a beautiful recipe for him. The thing was burning the tire. He was backing in at will. He looked like the old Matt Skoltz, so that made me really happy. Yesterday he didn't quite have that in race 1, but the guys made some changes overnight for this morning, and Matt went really fast again, and he did a really great job for us. I'm super proud of him, and I'm really proud, obviously, of the crew, as I am all the time.
So overall, I'm just happy to be back up here, and I got to give a huge thanks to the Westby Racing team. And there's a 3-week break now. I get to go and see my wife, who I haven't seen in 6 or 7 months. So I'm really happy about that. So it's going to really make me feel better going to Jersey and to Barbie. Having that time with your special person. It's kind of been a difficult year staying by myself with no family.
Our goal going into this year was try to win that championship. That's what this bike deserves, that's what this team deserves, and so that was my job to make sure that happens, and now we're sitting at all these wins, and it's pretty surreal. We got a really big points lead, but it doesn't change our attitude. We go to New Jersey and we do the same thing that got us to this point. We go out there and try to win.
Coming up, a look ahead at New Jersey for round 8.
Another one.
We can get a repeat of I'll do 2 spins. Back.
I like the duct tape chair. This seems pretty sweet.
Next round, our teams travel to Millville, New Jersey for round 8 of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
I know we only got 2 rounds left, 6 races, so it'll be battle royale. I know these guys want to win, and I know we want to win too.
The championship standings has Jake leading Scholz by 93 points, with Cameron Peterson, Bobby Fong, and Loris Bass rounding out the top 5.
No, we fly back Tuesday actually, and I already texted the Sudron I'm usually seeing for when I had the hamper problem, see if I could see him the next week, but I'm not really sure it's an hamper problem, so I want to make some other tests in the elbow because it just, the 3-4 laps on the bike, I just cannot feel my hand, you know. But I don't have so much pain in the arm, it's more big pain in the elbow, so I just want to try to see what's wrong.
Looking forward to Jersey, most because it's 3 rounds. But I'm really looking forward to Barber because Matthew, he can own that place if he wants. And I think if there's another place like this, I thought this place we might catch Jake and get him. But I think Barber is another one.
Most people don't know, if you do decent on a Sunday, like going into like Sunday night, it's like probably the most the happiest you can be. It's like, oh, you did decent on a Sunday. It's like, whew, you did decent. Now you I have a little break to actually not just be so down. And I'm pretty hard on myself. People who know me personally, I'm probably the hardest person on myself. I just mental abuse. I'll go home and just run 15 miles, no water, I need to suffer. I didn't do good, you know? It's like, I need to suffer. But no, it's good. I'm just gonna go back home and just kind of go through my routine and stay healthy and not be too much of a turd back home.
We all know the talent that Tony has. You know, the guy's, he's one of the only guys to beat Valentino Rossi in his prime straight up, you know, so we know the talent that he has. We saw what he did at Laguna on a different motorcycle. Wasn't quite the same result, you know, so honestly I think it says a lot about what Attack Performance is doing on their motorcycles at the moment and just how good those bikes are straight off the truck, you know. Not taking anything away from Tony and Jake. Especially Jake, that guy's just on another level at the moment, and the bike's for sure complimenting him.
Jake's just zen, man. I don't know if it's the oxygen or the oxygen deprivation living up there where he is now, but he just goes, I'm going. Their tires aren't any different than ours. It's the same shock, it's the same this, it's the same that, it's not Richard's swing arm. Jake and those guys have it down.
It'll be nice to have a couple weekends off, regroup. I know the team, all these teams definitely enjoy it. They need to go back home and have some breathing room, go through the bikes, make sure we're all good, and yeah, then back to back, Jersey Barber, triple headers, so it'll be hectic, it'll be intense, and yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. Come here. You know you want to. Come here, dirty man.
On the next episode of Inside MotoAmerica, pressure to rise.
I've always just been an outdoorsy type of guy, and the more time I spend outside, the happier I am, the more energy I got, and it seems like everything works out better, so.
Championship points leader and California native Jake Gagne has a chance to clinch his first ever Superbike championship title in New Jersey. He moved to Colorado in the off-season. He's loving the fresh mountain air and the calmness it brings to help him focus.